The red tally light clicks on like a tiny alarm. Late afternoon, a hotel conference room in Los Angeles, neutral carpet, neutral walls, nothing neutral about the air. Michael Jackson sits angled toward a semicircle of cameras, a handheld microphone hovering near his mouth like a dare. A reporter steps in too close, press badge swinging, a folded note card pinched between two fingers. The note card is the weapon. The question is already loaded. Across the table, a publicist's smile freezes. A producer behind the lens mouths, "Keep rolling." The boom mic lowers an inch. Jackson's gloves, light catching on the seams, rest still in his lap. No flinch, no blinky panic, just that calm, almost impolite stillness, like a man refusing to let the room decide his heartbeat. The reporter clears his throat and sets the trap with a soft voice. The note card rises. The cameras lean in. This is the moment the industry loves. The split second where a superstar either snaps or slips. And in that split second, Jackson's quiet is louder than any headline. 2 weeks earlier, the tone was set in a different room, an office with a speakerphone in the center of the table and a stack of printed questions beside it. A network booker pitched the segment as human, honest, necessary. The paper on the table said something else. Topics circled in pen, names underlined, arrows connecting phrases like credibility, ratings, accountability. The turning point object back then wasn't a mic. It was a list. A senior PR aide slid the list back and tapped one line with a fingernail. That one is a no. The booker's voice came through the speaker, bright and polite, the way polite sounds when it's carrying a blade. Viewers will expect it, the PR aide answered, with the only language the machine understands. We can walk. In the mid-90 seconds, media economy tabloids stacked at every checkout. Late-night monologues feeding the same jokes. Michael Jackson wasn't treated like an artist first. He was treated like a story first. A black, global icon with unmatched sales and unmatched scrutiny. A man whose face and voice were public property. The stakes were always bigger than embarrassment. A bad answer could become a week of headlines. A clipped sentence could become a permanent identity. In that climate, the camera itself became a courtroom. The lens didn't ask questions. It issued verdicts. The microphone didn't capture truth. It captured whatever could be replayed. A reporter's note card could carry the exact phrasing needed to make a man sound guilty, arrogant, evasive, or strange depending on where the editor wanted the cut to land. And Jackson's team knew it. They didn't fear questions. They feared framing. The day before the sit-down, a wardrobe rack rolled into a studio corridor like a moving wall, and a stylist held up options under fluorescent light. Sunglasses, jacket, a shirt that reads soft on camera, a glove that catches the light just enough to feel like control. Each item was a decision about power. Jackson's publicist adjusted an earpiece and whispered, "Short answers, no riffs. Don't argue with the premise." The premise was the trap. Answer the question as asked, and the question wins. At the same time, in another corner of the building, a reporter rehearsed tone, not volume tone. A producer handed him a fresh note card with a single sentence on it, underlined twice. "Ask it like you're helping him," the producer said, pointing at the card. "If he bites, we've got it. If he refuses, we've still got it." The reporter nodded and folded the card with care, like it mattered more than the truth. That morning, a security guard checked badges at the studio entrance, while a camera operator tested focus on an empty chair. The empty chair was important. It was the visual threat. It said, he might not show. It said, maybe the star can still walk away. In the hallway, Jackson arrived, with a small entourage and a calm face that didn't match the noise outside. A photographer's shutter snapped. A floor manager called, 2 minutes. The microphone pack was clipped on. The room was staged to look casual, but every cable was a leash. Right before they rolled, a network executive stepped into the doorway, tie too tight, smiled too sure, and pointed at the camera like it was a gavel. "No stops," he said. "If he gets uncomfortable, we keep going." Viewers hate dodging. The publicist's eyes flicked to Jackson. Jackson's eyes flicked to the red light. The red light flicked back, indifferent. And somewhere in the reporter's pocket, the note card waited folded, creased, sharp. The trap wasn't whether Jackson could answer. The trap was whether Jackson would accept the reporter's rules for reality. The next morning, the same note card is back on the table, now smooth flat, as if the creases might ruin the punchline. A makeup artist dusts Jackson's face under hot lights, while a floor producer whispers into a headset. He's seated, cameras ready. The room is tighter today. One fewer chair, one more lens. The red tally light is already on, burning like a small sun. A reporter tests his mic and smiles too warmly. "We're live to tape," he says, which is another way of saying everything can be edited into anything. Jackson's publicist stands just off camera, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the reporter's pocket. That pocket is where the trap lives. At rehearsal, if a segment like this can be called rehearsal, the producer walks the reporter through pacing. "Lead with something gentle," the producer says, tapping a clipboard. "Then pivot." The clipboard has bullet points, but the turning point is still the note card. The reporter nods again, the way people nod when they've already decided to swing. The first step is the soft opening. The reporter asks about music. A song title is mentioned. A tour. A studio memory. Jackson answers politely, voice even, eyes lowered toward the microphone, as if it's a fragile thing. The camera catches his still hands. The calm is intentional. Calm is control. Calm is also what makes the pivot feel like betrayal. The second step comes with a laugh that doesn't reach the reporter's eyes. "People say they don't really know you," he says, leaning forward. "The word people is always a crowd you can hide behind." Jackson gives a small, careful smile. "I understand that," he says. And the answer is smooth enough to slide past the hook. The reporter's smile tightens. The first bait didn't land. The third step is the false compliment. "You've been through so much," the reporter says, voice dropping into sympathy. Sympathy is just a different kind of pressure. The camera moves slightly closer. Jackson's gaze lifts to the lens for a heartbeat. That's an anchor, his eyes meeting the audience through glass, and then he looks back to the mic. "Life has challenges," he says. "No flourish, no drama." The room can't decide if it's boring or unnerving. Behind the cameras, a producer shifts weight from one foot to the other and whispers, "Go to the card." The reporter's fingers brush the note card inside his pocket. The pocket crinkles. A sound small enough to miss unless the whole room is listening for the moment the knife comes out. The fourth step is the framing move. The reporter doesn't ask a question yet. He sets a stage. "There are stories," he says, careful not to name them. "There are perceptions." He says it like a man offering a chance to explain. But the sentence is built like a cage. Jackson's publicist raises one hand slightly, a signal. Don't accept the premise. Jackson watches the hand, then the reporter's face, then the camera, a triangle of power, publicist, reporter, audience. Jackson answers with a line that refuses to kneel. "Stories travel faster than truth," he says, calm, measured. It's not a direct quote from any official transcript. It's the kind of sentiment people who were there have described him using in moments like this, and it fits the tactic. Deflate the frame without detonating. The reporter's eyes narrow. He's trying to turn calm into suspicion. The fifth step is the corner. The reporter shifts in his seat, posture changing from conversational to prosecutorial. He pulls the note card out. There it is, white and sharp against his palm, and he doesn't read it yet. He shows it first. Showing it is part of the threat. Proof there's a script. Proof this was planned. Proof the segment belongs to the card, not the man. "That brings me to something I have to ask," the reporter says. The word "have" is the oldest excuse in the business. Jackson's mic catches his breathing steady. The camera zooms another inch. The boom mic dips to catch any tremor. This is where the machine tries to make a human sound like a liar. The reporter finally reads the line off the note card, slowly, like he wants each syllable to leave a bruise. It's the classic trap question shape. It assumes something controversial is already true, then demands Jackson validate it by explaining it. The phrasing is designed so that denial sounds defensive and agreement sounds damning. A trap question doesn't ask for information. It asks for surrender. For a half second, the room expects movement, a flinch, a twitch, a glance to the publicist, a protest, something the editor can freeze frame. Instead, Jackson does something smaller and more powerful. He pauses with the microphone near his mouth, and the pause has no panic in it. The pause is clean. It says, "The question will not rush him." The publicist's hand lowers. The camera operator, trained to anticipate drama, steadies the shot. A producer behind the lens whispers, "Don't cut away." The reporter leans forward, as if calm is an insult. The note card stays raised like a receipt. Jackson's eyes lift to the reporter, not angry, not pleading, just present. He doesn't argue the question's premise. He doesn't perform outrage. He doesn't give the room the emotional footage it wants. He takes the trap, holds it up to the light, and refuses to step into it. And right here, right before he answers, everything is balanced on a single breath. The note card in the reporter's hand, the microphone in Jackson's hand, the red tally light watching like an unblinking witness. The microphone hovers at Jackson's lips. The reporter's note card is still raised, a thin white rectangle that thinks it's a judge. The room is so quiet, the cameras seem loud servo motors whispering, a lens ring turning, someone swallowing behind the monitor. Late afternoon in Los Angeles again, under studio lights that make every blink look like guilt. Jackson answers without flinching. Not fast, not defensive, not performative. Calm in the way a locked door is calm. He starts by refusing the trap's premise without announcing that he's refusing it. No lecture, no outrage. He simply slides the question off the track it was built to run on. A question like that already chooses a story, he says. Voice level, eyes steady. The truth doesn't need a trap. The words land softly, but the consequence is sharp. The reporter's note card has been exposed as a device, not a doorway. The reporter tries to interrupt just a breath of "but," and Jackson doesn't raise his voice. He raises his clarity. He angles his face toward the camera lens, not the reporter, and that shift is an anchor detail as physical as any gesture. He's not speaking to the note card anymore. He's speaking over it. If someone wants to understand, he continues, they ask to understand. They don't ask to win. The mic picks up his steady rhythm. No trembling, no throat clearing. The calm is almost confrontational because it denies the room its favorite currency, chaos. Behind the cameras, the producer's eyebrows lift. The edit they wanted was a stumble. The viral they wanted was a crack. Instead, they're getting something harder to clip into a scandal. Composure. The reporter tightens his grip on the note card and tries the second trap rephrasing, pretending it's a follow-up when it's the same blade turned sideways. "So you're saying everyone is lying?" he asks. This is the classic escalation. If the first frame fails, accuse the subject of arrogance. Make calm read as cold. Jackson's eyes go back to the reporter, and the answer stays soft. "People repeat what they're fed," he says. "That doesn't make them evil. It makes them human." He doesn't call names. He doesn't point. He doesn't grant the reporter the satisfaction of a fight. The note card looks smaller in the reporter's hand now, like a prop that lost its magic. A publicist off camera exhales audible if someone listens for it. The boom mic catches a faint rustle as the operator adjusts, expecting a blow-up that never comes. Jackson's calm has forced the entire room to recalibrate. The reporter glances down at the note card, as if the paper might supply a new angle. The camera catches that glance. It's subtle, but it's telling. The reporter is reading the segment while the subject is living it. That's the power shift. Jackson uses it. He leans slightly toward the microphone, just enough to signal intention, and offers a line that does not plead for sympathy, but invites accountability from the audience. If a person is truly concerned, he says, they don't corner someone on television to feel important. They do the work to find what's real. The sting is real, but it's delivered like a quiet fact. Calm doesn't mean harmless. Calm can cut deeper because it sounds like truth. The reporter's smile is gone now. He tries a third move, make Jackson's composure look rehearsed. "You're very calm," he says, like calm is an admission. The room waits again, because that line often triggers defensiveness. It's the bait. If you're calm, you're hiding something. If you're upset, you're guilty. Either way, the trap wins. Jackson answers in a sentence that shuts the game down. Calm is what's left when someone refuses to be controlled. The mic catches it clean. The red tally light keeps burning. For a second, even the producer behind the lens seems unsure whether to be impressed or alarmed. Because that line isn't about one interview. It's about the entire system. The consequence arrives immediately. The reporter shifts, searching for dominance. But the segment's energy has changed. It's no longer an interrogation. It's a spotlight on the interrogation itself. The note card, once a weapon, is now evidence of intent. The trap question has become the story. The producer calls time sooner than planned. "We're good," a voice says in the headset, tight and clipped. The reporter tries to squeeze in one last line, something that can be teased in promos, but Jackson is already placing the microphone down gently, like it was never heavy. That small action, setting the mic on the table without hurry, is the final punctuation mark. Off camera, a network staffer mutters, "He didn't give us anything." And that is the most revealing sentence in the room. Anything doesn't mean truth. Anything means usable heat. Jackson's calm denied them heat. The next morning, the segment runs in a clipped form. The pacing is faster. The cutaways are more frequent. A phrase is lifted and replayed. But the calm doesn't edit out easily. Calm leaves a residue. Viewers can feel when a question is designed to corner rather than clarify. They can feel when a note card is driving the narrative. The system can rearrange the footage, but it can't fully erase the imbalance it revealed. In the days that follow, the press cycle does what it always does. Some outlets frame the interview as evasive, others as composed, others as strange, because strange is the lazy word people use when they don't understand a person who won't behave on command. And yet, inside the industry, the lesson travels quietly. He can't be baited the way they want. That's the real story, hidden inside that note card moment. The thesis proves itself in the footage. The trap wasn't just aimed at Michael Jackson's reputation. It was aimed at control, at making a black megastar participate in a script written for ratings. His answer was too calm to ignore because it refused the script without begging for approval. The brutal part is what it implies. In a room built to manufacture cracks, composure becomes an act of rebellion. And when a man stays calm while the trap is springing, the audience finally sees the trapper. The note card was supposed to corner him. Instead, it exposed the corner.